If you're a fan and a regular viewer of me, you probably know that I was a huge fan of the SOCOM games that were released back in the early 2000s from Zipper Interactive and PlayStation. And if you're a fan of SOCOM, you probably know that August of this year is the 20-year anniversary of SOCOM's release. That fact alone just proves I'm old as fuck, but it's okay. August 27th is the 20-year anniversary of SOCOM, and I will be having a video go out discussing my love for the franchise, where it went wrong, and just an overall celebration of the glory days. But that's not what this video is about. I want to talk about something else that's going on in the SOCOM community. Now, my channel started in 2015. It really started to ramp up by covering a game called H-Hour, which was a Kickstarter project that involved some of the original people who worked on SOCOM way back then, and the game turned out to be absolute shit. And since then, there has been plenty of projects that have spurred up in the community, things like Project Confrontation, which was, you know, a remake of Confrontation from the PS3 era. There was a whole movement about bringing the servers back online, in which a community of people came together and created servers for SOCOM 1, 2, 3, Combined Assault, as well as Confrontation. And you can play all of those games if you just click the link right here in this video. Another project that started up back in 2019 was a project called Task Force, in which it was trying to recreate SOCOM in Unreal Engine 4. And in the early days of Task Force, I was one of their biggest supporters. I love SOCOM, and any chance you can play SOCOM or, you know, an experience like it, I usually try to support it. So if you guys have been around since about 2020, then you know they were doing some pretty shady shit after they got around $12,000 to $13,000 in community funding from the SOCOM community. And for me, even though I like projects and I support them and talk about them, when they do shady things, I usually like to call them out. The whole summary is available in a video I released back then. It's down below if you guys want to catch up. But the basic gist was anybody who bought the game had access to jump onto the game and play on their servers, where they were basically making these custom maps. They were all assets. It wasn't really a good experience, but we could definitely see where it could go. Now, the game's creator, as well as their team, had started ripping assets from the original PlayStation discs, and they had servers up in which they were testing the old school maps. So you could log in and you could play Frostfire and Crossroads and Desert Glory, Night Stalker, and you could experience SOCOM almost to its truest form on a mouse and keyboard, and it looked amazing. The only problem is they locked certain people out of those servers. So if you purchased the game and you didn't have access to the servers, i.e. people like me who are very critical of certain developers, you were fucked, because they didn't have the original servers up with their bullshit ass asset maps. They only kept locked servers up testing these ripped assets from SOCOM 2. And back then they were implementing workshop support, and the creator of these SOCOM 2 maps, based on my knowledge and history with the creator of Task Force, they were the same guy. So he was trying to create SOCOM maps under the guise of another account, basically saying that they were workshop content, when in reality they were the same person. They're trying to skirt past the legality of selling, you know, stolen content at that point, because it's a mod, it's a workshop map, but it's being created by the same person who's creating the game. They're locking people out of those servers. It was a whole clusterfuck. I called them out. That's the basic summary. And when that happened, I was subsequently banned from the fucking game itself, which I had never seen before. I'm surprised no other developer has done that to my account before. I pissed off a developer by calling out their shady practices, and they punished me by banning me from Task Force. I bought a bunch of keys to give out to my community, never got to redeem those. I spent like over $100 on keys, haven't received any of them. In fact, everybody who did receive a testing key from those giveaways, they don't have access to that testing key. They went full nuclear scorched earth because I called them out on their bullshit. And since that point, we haven't heard anything from this team. We had seen a couple of maps come out in 2021 that they were posting about but weren't in the game yet, and they basically went radio silent until now. Task Force has updated their Steam page to reflect the impending release of their game into early access, and can you believe that these people chose August 27th of all days, the 20-year anniversary of SOCOM, and this game, which was initially crafted as a labor of love for the SOCOM community and the SOCOM fans who haven't really been feasting on any sort of SOCOM content for almost a decade at this point. Task Force was supposed to be the savior, but in looking at their store page, it seems like they have other motives. Let's talk about it all here. My name is Big Fry. If you guys like the video, leave a like on it, subscribe for more content just like this. Let's get into it. So we're on the store page here, and the description is the beginning of the end here. Task Force is a low-budget, tactical, third-person shooter made by a couple of dudes. It has amateur animations, store-bought character skins, and there's tons of things missing and unfinished because we ran out of both time and money. Great selling point. What the fuck? Now, when you scroll down and you look at their early access answers, it just gets worse and worse as it goes on. So why early access? We're doing early access because we don't really have a choice. With such a low budget game, we've put a heavy emphasis on workshop support to allow anyone to create and upload content. However, our players also want a game that is performant and competitive, which means they want to play on dedicated servers. In fact, we've built an entire system on our website for renting dedicated servers, so anyone can with just a few clicks. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to test workshop support on dedicated servers without releasing the game, even if it's not ready, so here we are. Now, I don't think I'm knowledgeable enough to speak on the use of dedicated servers with workshop support. I've spoken with developers who have said that you can, and that doesn't make sense. Maybe they've ran into something. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't know enough about that to be like, whoa, hold on a second, gotcha. That's where we're at, but let's keep going. So the game will be in early access until we polish up animations, sounds, or pretty much anything artistic that we couldn't afford yet. It will need at least 7 to 10 maps and a bunch of custom character skins before it can be considered fully released. But with the way things go sometimes and the fact that it took us what felt like an eternity to even release into early access, it might stay in early access hell forever. I mean, I'll say this, like kudos for being honest, but that doesn't instill a lot of trust or confidence in the product to make me want to back it and purchase it. That's like, it's really weird. Like, at least you're not blowing smoke, but I don't know how I feel about it. So how is the full version plan to differ from early access? We can tell you the plan, but most indie developers probably don't have a clue where they'll be in a year or two. Now, that's actually true. Obviously, the goal is to have the game be more completed. That means making maps, characters, weapons, just constantly making the game better anywhere that's needed, then eventually getting tired out, wanting to move on something else in life, calling whatever is done at that point finished, and pretending that was the plan all along. Jesus. The current state of early access, these are just the same questions over and over. It's unfinished. The animations are amateur. The character skins were bought in the UE4 marketplace. We've tried to develop our own characters, but have only gotten so far. We have a training map, gray blockouts for 5 maps, and fully playable drafts of our first 3 maps. But after all these years, we've learned so much. We could rebuild them a lot better now, especially if we can get the funding and resources necessary. It's really hard to find decent artists these days unless you have a lot of money to throw around. So as you start reading through it, it sounds like somebody who is frustrated with the process. They want to continue, but they don't have the resources or the funding. So it's like, let's go here. The problem with saying that this game might end up in early access hell forever, or that we don't have the money, we don't have the resources, is that's going directly against the early access terms of service. You're not supposed to put a game onto early access if you can't continue development without funding or without sales of the game. It's literally one of the first fucking things that you read when you sign and look at the early access terms. That is, like, it's not allowed to happen. If you can't continue development with 0 sales, you are not supposed to go to early access. It's not a crowdfunding platform. It's a way for you to share with the community the state that you're in and build it from there with their feedback, not with their dollars. Will the game be priced differently during and after early access? We would certainly hope so. If the game finally has all the maps, characters, weapons, and everything else, then it's obviously a more completed product with a higher value. So yes, we would raise the price once the game is finished, so to speak. That means you're gonna want to buy it now while it's a cheap piece of crap. Think of it as a long-term investment. Guys, you're gonna want to buy it now while it's a cheap piece of shit, in hopes that we get enough of you guys to buy it so that we can continue development. But remember 2 paragraphs up when they said it might just stay in early access hell forever? You're gonna want to buy it now with the possibility of it being that. What the fuck is this store page? But the pièce de résistance. How are you planning on involving the community in your development process? Are you ready? After years of dealing with the tactical third-person shooter community, we have no desire to involve anyone in anything. Great start. Just leave us the hell alone so the job of making video games is actually fun, and we'll keep working hard to make cool shit. Now, of course, we'll post announcements about what's changed in each release, putting together some update videos, maybe even throw a poll once in a while, but everyone has an opinion about everything, and you can never please everyone, so go find something more productive to do with your time. If you think you can do it better, then go ahead. Holy fucking shit. I will say, some of the sentiment that they share here publicly, I know a lot of developers feel. That idea of not being able to please everybody, and everybody has an opinion, and the frustrations about trying to sort through that sort of feedback. That's what early access is about. So if you're not ready for it, and I will tell you guys from experience, this dev team is not ready for that. I criticize some of the stuff that they were doing 2 fucking years ago when they were literally locking people out of content that they paid for. They were locking us out of servers, making the game that we paid for absolutely useless. We couldn't play on the normal servers because they were down. They had these private circle jerk sessions that they let people in, and like you had to reach out, talk to them, and like they had to like give you access to it. It was shady as fuck, and it pissed a lot of people off, including me. And when I called them out on it, they fucking banned me from the game. They gave me a fucking Steam ban for it. And now they have the arrogance to sit there and say, please leave us the hell alone. Where in the flying fuck have you guys been for the last 2 years? You haven't been doing jack shit. You haven't been posting things publicly. You haven't been letting anybody in on anything. You claim that you've been doing things behind the scenes, and I'm sure you have. You're talking about setting up the dedicated servers and all of that. You haven't let anybody know anything. You locked your customer base out of content. You banned content creators that were critical of your process, and now you're here being arrogant, saying if you can do better, then go do it. You guys haven't done fucking anything. You claim yourself that the game is a low budget piece of shit, but this arrogant and you know what? The arrogance, it tells me that the creator of this, his name is Redline. It tells me that his entire mantra and his entire team around him hasn't changed a fucking bit. It even gets worse and a little bit more desperate and shitty when you look into the description on the actual store page. It says that their plan is to develop maps inspired by locations around the world. This could be jungles, deserts, urban areas, or snowy environments. This requires a lot of realistic, high quality content that covers a wide array of regions. Therefore, we need a competent team of artists that can create these characters and environments. So if you don't buy the game, we won't have the funding required to pay these people. Then we'll never be able to achieve our dream of developing this game. And just think how shitty you would feel about yourself if you did that to us. This has got to be the worst store page that I have ever seen. Take my clear anger and bias against these developers for banning me out of the equation, because I can do that right now. Blaming customers that you don't have yet for not allowing you to chase and achieve your dream that, according to you above, it's not even enjoyable to do. It's so fucking weird. This whole store page reads like a maniacal, desperate fuck who doesn't want to continue with this game but needs to make money. You tell people to leave you the hell alone so you can make video games fun, but you haven't been talking and engaging with people in almost 2 years. You just opened your general chat in your Discord like the other day. What are you even talking about? Now, with all of that being said, the SOCOM community, I have been in it, talking with people for years about it. They're desperate for a SOCOM experience in 2022. And I know that if this game comes out and it's good and it allows people to play those old maps and it plays like it did a couple of years ago, I think a lot of people are going to be happy. With that said, if you choose to support this dev team with all of this in front of you on the store page, with all of the history that you've seen on this channel, I've been following this game for years, and it seems that their arrogance and their anger and their distaste for you is at an all-time high. If you choose to back this game and buy into the early access and the game dies, it no longer adds content, you might get banned. If any of those things happen to you, it's on you. It is abso-fucking-lutely on you. And as somebody who wants a SOCOM game more than anything, as somebody who supported the fuck out of these guys at the beginning until they turned their backs on everybody who was bigging them up, the only reason why they made as many sales as they fucking did was because of the group of content creators that they had around them. It wasn't just me. As far as I'm aware, every single content creator who was bigging them up and when they were doing their crowdfunding was playing the game and promoting it, none of those people have been in the loop. There was an email sent out last week kind of letting people know like, hey, the store page has been updated, we're going to release. None of these content creators got emailed. It's what these people do. They use you. They use content creators for their influence. All they care about is getting money so that they can make the game that they want to make for themselves. To hell with you. They'll ban you. They'll keep you out of conversations. They'll lock you out of servers. They don't give a fuck. As long as they have the money to make the game so that they can play it with their little group of friends on private servers, that's all that matters to these people. So I'm just warning you. As somebody who has followed the SOCOM community very closely, all of these projects are made by maniacal, arrogant, just socially awkward fucks. And to this day, over 800 days later, I'm still banned on their fucking game. There's multiple people in their Discord that have been removed from testing, even though they paid upwards of $50. It is a clusterfuck. And this move seems really, really desperate. And I don't quite understand it. What pissed me off is the fact that they chose August 27th of all fucking days to sling their shit. So this is a very cautious warning. I think if it's anything like it played a couple of years ago, I think if you're a SOCOM fan, you're probably going to enjoy it. But just know that there is a lot of shit. But just know that it is being ran by a group of people who actually don't give a fuck about you at all. The disdain they have for their customer base, even 2-3 years ago, to now, it's only gotten worse. So just take it as a warning. As somebody who is passionate about SOCOM, grew up playing it, ran the SOCOM remastered movement to try to get Sony to acknowledge the IP, like, I am in this shit. It's one of the big reasons why I have entered game development with the team I have around me. Our first game isn't SOCOM, it isn't anything like this, but we want to build ourselves up to be able to tackle this in the right way. August 27th is right around the corner. Again, if you're a SOCOM fan, if you're a third-person shooter fan, this game might be cool. You might enjoy it. Proceed with caution. And that's all I got to say. My name is Big Fry. Thank you guys for watching, man. If you guys liked the video, please leave a like on it, a dislike if you didn't. Subscribe for more indie shooter content just like this. I'll see you on the next one.